Hey guys, welcome back to the Framework Fortune YouTube channel. This video I'm going to go over looking at the charts. I've had some requests where people are wanting to know what I'm looking at and why I'm looking at it and how to understand what you are looking at. So that's what we're going to do here. I have a few top gainers on my watch list from Friday that we're going to take a look at. So if you're interested in day trading and you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. And let's dive right into it. The first stock we have is TYME. And as you see, I have two charts up, so let's just look at these charts. I'll move all this stuff over. The first chart here is the yearly chart. This one right here. Go up here, click on this. You see it's set to 1 year, 1 day. So this whole chart is the time span of a year. Ignore that. And each one of these candles is 1 day. So while we're looking at this is for support and resistance. So we have our 3 EMAs, our 9-day EMA, our 50-day EMA, and the 200-day EMA. And these are going to act as support and resistance. And so if you watch the support and resistance video, then you know how they act as support and resistance. But basically, one or two of them will be the floor, and one or two of them might be a ceiling. So in the case of TYME, you can say it was below this 50-day EMA, and it was below this 9 EMA for this many days. All the way back here, here you see 3/4/2/18. That's the dates. So back there around 2:25, you see it cracked below all 3 EMAs, and it's been below them all the way up until July. And right back here at the end of June, you can see it popped right back above the 9 EMA, but the 50 was still there. And so you know this EMA is going to hold up as support, and this is going to be resistance. And so when it broke above this 130 on this 50-day EMA, it made a nice little move up. And so even though the support and resistance changes through these EMAs, you know right now, like tomorrow, because these are here on this side of the chart, on this right side, this is the most current time. So this was Friday, this red candle here. So you know these are going to be support and resistance. So this has resistance at 133, right in that area where the EMA is, the 50 EMA. And it has support at 119, where the 9 EMA is. So this little area here is going to hold up a strong support. And the way we look at it with the minute chart right here, this 1 minute chart, we know 130, 131 is going to be support from this EMA on the yearly chart. So 131 will be support on this minute chart. As you can see, even through pre-market on Friday, the lowest it got was 135. So that 130-ish area held up as some type of support. And we knew that was support because we looked back here on the yearly chart at this 50 EMA. So we know that it would hold up. Okay, same thing with resistance. We look up here, the 200 EMA is way up here at 210. So we know on this chart that 210 is going to be strong resistance on the 1 minute chart. So the support and resistance we look for on the yearly chart right here, the most recent time, we're also going to be using on this minute chart. We don't have it marked out because mentally I have it marked out. That's why I can see right here. I can if I look up here at this chart, at this yearly chart, I know support's at 130-ish and resistance is in this $2 area. And I can see that clearly. So I know down here it's going to be the same thing. As you saw on this 1 minute chart, 130-ish held up as support, and this thing never got over $2. So we know that just by looking at this. We knew that was going to happen. That's very predictable. Okay, so we look for other support and resistance. So you look, and the highest it got was 178. So 175 held up as strong resistance. Well, if you look back on this yearly chart, this is why I have both charts up, so I can see the support and resistance. Because if you just look at this minute chart down here at the bottom, if you just only look at this and you're ignoring this, you look at this and you say, okay, where's my support and resistance? We don't really know, other than we have the VWAP and natural resistance and support. So we know 175 is a quarter movement, 150, 125, $2. Those are all going to be support and resistance. So we can know that this is going to get held up at 175. This thing basically got dead stopped at 175 though. So another way we can tell besides that natural resistance, so we can tell that there's going to be more resistance, is by looking back at this yearly chart. And if you look back here, these two candles back in May, it came up to there and it got held up and it dropped right back down. It didn't break through 175. So if you take and draw a line on this chart around 175, we'll try to get as perfect as we can, but you know, it may not be that perfect. Actually, let's go ahead and let's just draw it all the way across the whole yearly chart. So we're basically using the yearly chart for support and resistance, just so we can see it. So we draw that line all the way across. It's a little crooked, but you get the point. So you see here, that's the 175 mark. It got held up here. It got stopped at 175. Went down, went down, went down. And so you knew that was going to be some type of resistance. Now also, back to support and resistance. Old support becomes new resistance. New support, or old resistance becomes new support. So if you look, this thing dropped down $2. You can see kind of was nice little support, but then here it got pretty low down, got below $2. But you can see this 175 has kind of always supported this stock, and you see it got down a little bit right there. So you know $2 is going to be strong resistance as well, because $2 has been basically the main support of this stock up until this point of right here, where the stock broke through $2. It cracked through $2, okay, dropped down, hit 175, came back up, dropped down to 175, and you see it kept hitting 175 here. So 175 held up as support here until it cracked, and then it became new resistance. So looking at this chart, we know that 175 is going to be strong resistance, and not just natural resistance, but also past chart history resistance by looking at this yearly chart. We know that 175 was once support, and old support becomes new resistance, and we saw 175 was also a resistance. So just by looking at this chart, we can see that this stock was going to have a hard time at 175. Now if it would have broke through 175, we also know that $2 area is going to be real tough. So we can draw another line here on this yearly chart, and you see it kind of bounced here at $2, came down, bounced here at $2, bounced here, big bounce, came back down, bounced here at $2, came back down, bounced here at $2. So you see $2 as well is going to be strong resistance for this stock because it was strong support, strong past support. So we know by looking at this yearly chart that on this chart here, on our 1 minute chart, that $2 is going to be strong and 175 is going to be strong resistance. And we also know that 130 area is going to be strong support. So with that, by looking at this chart, this yearly chart, we can map out our support and resistance on this minute chart and play our stock off of there. And then we also have that VWAP as well. So that's how we're using it to see the support and resistance. Because one of the things is when you get your watch list together in the morning and you pull a stock up, you want to look on this yearly chart and make sure there's not a lot of resistance where it's at. So looking at this in the morning, we know this was getting squeezed between the 9 EMA and the 50, and it had room to run to 210 just by looking at the EMAs. So we know there's some room to run here. So we want that. We want to have this open space right here between the actual stock price where it opened at, should be about right here, and the highest EMA resistance. And then we also want that same thing on the past chart history support and resistance. So we know that 175 was as high as it could go. So we know we've got this amount of room to move on this play for sure. So following the strategy, assuming this meets all the criteria, this stock opens up, drops below the VWAP, comes around, gets down here at this 140 area, comes back around, breaks the VWAP at 150, which is natural support and resistance as well as the VWAP resistance. So it breaks the $1.50 resistance. How do we know how far this is going to go up? When do we know when to sell? Because you can hold here, hold here, hold here, and you get this red candle dropping some. Some people might sell here, but we know that there's no resistance really right here, so we can hold this thing all the way up to 175. So by looking at this yearly chart, we can tell when to sell this stock on the minute chart. Because everything you look up at here on this yearly chart is going to carry over to this 1 minute chart. Okay, all the support and resistance lines will carry over to this 1 minute chart. It's just giving you, the yearly chart is just giving you more information, because that's what we look for. That's how we predict these stocks, is we need as much as information as possible. And my strategy is simplified, but we want to know all the details we can to make sure that we have the best predictability on a stock. The way you beat the casino is you become the casino. You want to stack the odds in your favor. And if you're going in blind on just a minute chart, you don't know when to sell. You know, you see this red candle right here, you might just sell and you just gave away 15 cents of profit. Okay? And if you jump in, you know, like somewhere crazy, like if you're not using the VWAP or this support and resistance from this other chart, and you jump in up here at 172, you know, that's a crazy place to enter. That's not a good entry. So we want that information to help us get the best possible entry right here at the break of the VWAP and sell at the top, you know, to make the highest profits. So that's what we're looking for. So let's look at a couple other stocks and then we'll cut this video off. I don't want this to go too long, but as you can see here, this guy opened up above these two EMAs again. Now it didn't have as much room to go. You know, it opened up at 185 and resistance was at 228, and that's fine. And you can see on this minute chart, this guy did get a big move, but it basically went straight up. Okay, so you would essentially buy in here at the break of the VWAP and hold this thing. I mean, it's going. This is only in 2 minutes. This is 1 minute. This is 2 minutes. So you would hold up to here, somewhere in here, but 228 is going to be strong resistance. So I'm sure a lot of people, I mean, this thing moves so fast, they probably couldn't jump out in time. But with this long of a move, in 1 minute going from 225 to 312, you can see on this chart we're above the 200 EMA once we're above 228. Okay. That's really high up on this chart. That's a lot of resistance. So you've got to know that a lot of selling is going to come in. So it got all the way up to 343, but then it crashed straight all the way back down. All right, and if you look back up here, once again, draw a line on your yearly chart. 350's natural resistance. And if you look on this chart, right around there, you can see 350 held up as support right here. This thing went up, bounced off 350 here, went up, bounced off 350 here, hit 350 here, and then cracked through, came back up, and now that 350 support is resistance. So it hit the 350 here, dropped back down, tried to get back up there, didn't quite make it, and so we have this big massive run, and 350 is as far as it's going to go, because that's your strong resistance. A lot of traders, probably on this play, it opened up, broke above this VWAP. They're new traders. They get excited. They see this thing go $1 in a span of 1 minute. They're like, oh man, this thing is going to the moon. They jump in here, right around this $3 mark, because they don't know. They're new to the market. They don't know how to stack the odds in their favor. They jump in here, and all the experienced traders, they've already been in at the break this VWAP. They know what's up. So at 350, they're all selling. So they sell out of this position, all the smart traders, and the shorters come in, because the shorters are smart. They know what's up. They're looking at this yearly chart. They're saying 350 is strong resistance. This thing's went $1 in a minute. It's not going to keep going. So you have this massive selling coming in, and it crashes the stock back down. So those rookie traders who got in up here thinking, oh, this thing's moved a minute, $1 in a minute, it's going to keep going, they got destroyed on this. Okay. And that's what separates us from the rookie traders, is that we're using this yearly chart to see what the experienced traders are seeing. The experienced traders are seeing this 350. They know this is strong resistance. The experienced traders are selling their position up here after they've been in way down here, and the shorters are coming in saying this is way overbought. We can bring this thing down and make a profit on the crash. So just by looking at this chart, we know that. Okay. Now we look at support. Like I said, the 50 EMA is right there at that 165. So we look on this chart. It never really got low enough to 165, but $2 basically held this thing up as support, and $2 is a natural support line. But if you look, I'll draw another line on this chart, on this yearly chart, so we know what's up, because we're smart traders. And I basically do this in my head every morning. That's why you don't see a bunch of lines on my chart. I just like to keep things clean. If you need to do this to help you, that's fine. Eventually you'll better look at a chart and see it. But you see $2, the stock came up here, hit $2, dropped down, came up here, hit $2, dropped down, came around, hit $2, finally broke free. Goes and does all this nonsense up here, drops back down, $2 holds it up here, $2 holds up the support here, it breaks below $2, comes back up, gets held up at $2, and crashes back down. So we know $2 is a strong support and resistance line just by looking at this yearly chart. So we know here $2 is going to hold up as pretty strong support. So you could be a really smart, sneaky player, trader, like the guy who sits there at the poker table playing his cards, but not betting a lot. He's just waiting for his chance. You know, he's not back here in the action where a 6-man poker table is getting dwindled down to 3 people. He's the third person left. 3 people's already got knocked out here, so there's three poker players left right in this area, and you know, he's just bided his time, playing a few chips here and there. And so he's like, now that all this action's over, I'm gonna wait. And I see this $2 holds up, $2 holds up. He's like, okay, $2 right here is holding up as strong support. We know back here on this yearly chart that $2 is holding up as a strong support. So I've got a royal flush here. I'm gonna bet it all right here at this $2 and buy in. And then he makes a nice profit on this bounce play off of $2 up to $2.40. You know, there's not as much volume as back here. It's not as crazy. It's not as wild west. It's not a crazy gambling game. Right here, it's a nice little smooth, sneaky old man, outsmarting everybody game. You know, so, and the way he knows that is because he looked at this yearly chart and could see that $2 was strong support and resistance, and he saw that it held up here. So, you know, good little sneaky entry. So that's basically it, guys. We're just using the yearly chart as basically like an open book, a dictionary or something. Like this chart is telling us the secrets. It's telling us the support and resistance secrets of this stock. You know, this chart is on the same stocks, but this one is telling us all of the stock secrets. You know, we look at this and we're like, okay, this guy has been up to $5, $6 before, so that's good. But we've got the support and resistance here, support and resistance line here. You know, we can see that we got these EMAs. Like, this tells us all our information we need to know about this stock. And then our minute chart, we're just using as a gauge to what the stock is doing. So right there, while we're getting ready to trade it, or we're in the trade, we're looking for those patterns to buy and sell. So back to TYME, you know, we've got everything marked out in the morning. We know where the stock can bounce at and where the stock can get stopped at. So we're watching this minute chart and we're like, okay, we got the U-shaped break of the VWAP. That's our strategy. We buy in at the break of this VWAP. Now we can just hold this thing up to $1.75 because we know $1.75 is strong resistance, but we know it's got room to go to 175. So it's just basically giving us all our information we need to know while we're trading the stock in the minute chart. So yeah, that's it. You know, if you have any questions, you can always message me, leave a comment below, or join the live stream in the mornings. I always answer questions in the live streams. And make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time.